The new year brings new laws. That includes ones that affect you if you are looking for a new job or where you work right now.
And here to discuss is Brian Kabatek, chairman of the board at Loyola Law School. And Brian, first of all, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
This is interesting. So if people are applying for a job now, there are certain things that prospective employers cannot ask them as of this year. What are they?
There's two important changes to the law this year that affect both employees and employers. And that's the first is what we're calling ban the box, which is that box you typically see on an application, a job application, that asks you if you've been convicted of a crime. They can't ask you that anymore. They can only ask you that once you've been conditionally offered the job. So in other words, the employer says, I'm going to offer you a job, but I need some background information. And then the employee has the right to contest it. So if it comes back and there's a criminal hit, they can say, well, listen, that was 25 years ago. It was a conviction for marijuana possession. That's no longer against the law, or that's not me. So that's the important change, the first important change. The second is they can't ask you your salary history anymore. Now, you can volunteer it. If you want to ask your employer what you're going to be paid based on what you were paid in the past, it's perfectly fine for them to say, hey, I'm going to tell you what mine is. Now, let's negotiate based on that, best on what I can. But they can't ask you what you were paid in the past.
And how about with immigration enforcement? What changes are we going to see this year, and how do you marry all of that with federal law in the workplace?
Well, what California has done is California has definitely said we're going to be ground zero for the resistance. So in California, they've passed a law now that as an employer, you can't voluntarily let the federal government come into your workplace to inspect your records, to go talk to your employees. It mandates that an employer can no longer just simply voluntarily let them come in. They've got to get a warrant, or they've got to get a search warrant or a subpoena or something like that. And then the employer has to tell the employee within 72 hours, your employment records are being subpoenaed by the federal government. So it's a direct attempt to stop the Trump administration and stop the federal government from taking some sort of an action with respect to their employees.
Okay.
So lack of a better term, this post-Weinstein era where there's so much attention on sexual harassment, what are the laws when it comes to making sure employees have the proper training? And what do you see in the future when it comes to legislatively dealing with this, highly divisive issue?
Okay, so actually, because these laws are enacted by the legislature in the summer, so before the Weinstein thing hit, before #MeToo came to be, the legislature already saw that there was a problem here with sexual harassment. And now if an employer has at least 50 employees, they have to have training in place for all supervisors on sexual harassment, and it has to be repeated every 2 years if that person stays with them. So what do I see coming in the future? A lot, because the legislature is a political body, and this is a hot political topic. You're going to see laws coming down that are going to make it easier for employees to bring sexual harassment lawsuits. You're also going to probably see laws that are going to say it's not proper to put sexual harassment cases into forced binding arbitration outside the view of the public. And finally, you're probably going to see a ban on secret settlements of sexual harassment cases, because potential predators, like Harvey Weinstein is alleged to be, are not going to be able to cover it up any longer with settlements and keeping that outside the light of the public.
And we're learning so much about that. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
A wealth of information. And to learn more about his firm, go to kbklawyers.com. Again, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.